Devon Levesque is a fitness mogul, entrepreneur, and a Jersey City resident.
I'm Devon Levesque. I'm a partner at Performance House.
On October 30th, he is going to run the New York City Marathon on all fours.
Running the New York Marathon in a bear crawl. That's never happened before. It's never been done. I'm doing this for a cause for mental health. I want to bring awareness to suicide and show people that you can do things that you think are impossible.
FitOp's ultimate mission is to help prevent the 17 suicides of ex-service people in the United States every single day. I had the pleasure of following along Devon's incredible journey from humble restaurant manager to a full-blown fitness mogul. I even had the chance to train with him a few times, and I knew back then that he was destined for greatness. The sky is the limit for Devon. We recently sat down with him to chat at his stunning apartment in Jersey City. What's your name?
Devon Levesque.
Of course your name is Devon Levesque. So I'm very excited. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Thanks for coming. I'm honored.
So what do you do? Everything.
Yeah, everything. I'm in the health and wellness field. People call me an entrepreneur. I like to have my hands in different buckets and spread myself across different brands and really try to implement my creativity and my vision on different aspects of business into different brands. So I guess, an entrepreneur, but mainly in the health and wellness field. Fitness has always been like a top priority in my life.
Right.
My grandfather and father were both professional weightlifters. My mother competed. And so I grew up with a gym, like a pretty large gym in our house. And, I was doing squats.
So how come you didn't go into fitness?
I didn't think it was like a real industry. I kind of
Really?
looked at it as like, I didn't even know, like when I thought of personal training, I was like, I didn't think there was like scalability there. I always look at things from like a business perspective, always my whole life. Like, how can I help a person? How can I solve the problem? And what money are you going to make from doing this? What's your return? What's your ROI? And so I didn't really see ROI in the training business, to be totally honest. And so I never pursued it. I mean, I liked working out. I liked working out with people, but it wasn't like a top priority. When I was in the restaurant industry, I met a lot of people, and one guy specifically came up to me and wanted me to help him with his life. It wasn't necessarily fitness; it was all aspects. It was social. He was going through a divorce. It was fitness, and he's like, "Can you help me? You seem like you have really good energy." He's like, "I need that good energy in my life," and so I was like, yeah, I can help you. This is going to take some time. So I started doing some research and I'm like, how can I help this guy out? And I came to it, like, I just need to spend time with this guy. But what is my time worth to him? So I came up with some prices, sent it to him. He's like, done, let's do it. This guy was definitely successful. And so that was very exciting. That was like my first client, I guess. And I went into it from a health coach perspective and like a life coach perspective, and a business mindset as well. I'm like, can I scale this? Can I actually help this guy? Is it going to work? Right. And this guy changed dramatically. He lost like 60, 70 pounds.
Wow.
He started to get through the divorce. He met another woman. He started traveling more. He left his job, started doing consulting. Like, it changed his life. Right. And I was like, this is awesome. Right. And so then I got a second client. The second client was Barry Sternlick, who is the founder of the W Hotel, who is a serial entrepreneur who owns Starwood Capital, which is a very, very large, I guess you want to say hedge fund. Right. And, he, just a successful guy. And I met him and I started working out with him, and then I got more clients. And it was just a snowball effect. Right. And I was like, this is a real business. It came to a point where I decided, do we expand it more, take more investment, or do we partner with someone? And my whole thing is, I think people should enjoy the process of what they're doing. It should never be, okay, let's work really, really hard, and then you get to the final point, and now let's party. I think you're partying the whole time. The process should be the party. Like your entire years of you hustling should be the fun part. If it's not fun, then you need to change your industry. So it was starting to get a little stressful, and I was like, I could use some help, like from an expansion standpoint. Matt Hesse, who founded Performance House and Performix, him and I saw the same vision in like a fitness-driven lifestyle and the positivity and changing people's life for a purpose. And so we came together and we merged companies. So I dissolved Don't Be a Pig. and now we're pushing Performance House.
So what is Performance House for people who don't know?
Performance House is a place where
it's like the Soho House of like training places.
Yeah, people call it the Soho House of training, but
right.
it's really a place where like-minded people come together. We interview everyone before they come in. We want to make sure that everyone comes in, leaves their ego at the door, and they have a fitness-driven lifestyle, and it's pushing their main purpose. And so there's a lot of business owners, a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of high-profile people in there that are very successful, but fitness drives their lifestyle. They're all positive. There's no egos, and so it creates this really cool atmosphere. And on top of it, which is the best part, is the trainers and the doctors. They're like the best in the world. These guys have their own business. These guys are all positive. These guys, push health and wellness nonstop. They live and breathe it. And so you're surrounded by the top health and wellness coaches, doctors in the world, for sure. And then you have some of the top talent in the world as well, and entrepreneurs. And so you combine that, and you just create this addictive atmosphere.
Right.
That people want to come in and they just want to get better.
So what kind of tips could you give somebody that's like really been there are people who have been thinking, that we've been in quarantine, especially with everything going on, and they're thinking, I want to start working out, but I don't know where to start.
Yeah, I think you try as many different fitness avenues as you can. Muay Thai, boxing, HIIT, weightlifting, yoga, ballet,
dance,
breath work, dance. It can be anything, and try them all out. Do it twice. Do one for a week, and then do the next one for a week, and see which one you like the best. If you still don't like any of them, go sit in a sauna, start sweating, maybe get into stretching. Right, that's still wellness. You're still taking care of your body. So I think there is there's a fitness avenue for everyone. You just have to find it. What's fun to you? I personally don't get enjoyment in weightlifting as much. I love just running around and trying new things, whether it's boxing or doing flips or going to the field. I grew up playing sports my entire life, football, basketball, baseball, track, my entire life. I did ballet when I was a kid. I did gymnastics. I love just like moving around. I'm very energetic, and so I like kind of going back to my childhood. I think working out should kind of bring you back to your childhood, which goes into my next thing. Every day, people should do one thing that makes them feel like a child. Climb a tree, play Jenga, play Connect 4, do something that when you were a kid, crawl on your hands and knees, right? Like a bear crawl. I love bear crawling now, right?
Okay, we're going to talk about that.
But like do something that is fun to you, that like brings you back to a kid, get you out of that whole work mentality of like stress life, COVID, this, that, whatever's going on, and just be a kid again. And I think that's what keeps you young.
I love it. So I want to go back to, a few years ago, me and you like worked out a little bit. Like you were my trainer for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then it's like I woke up one morning and you just blew up. like what happened? Like how, like.
Well, I think the company started to take off. Like Don't Be a Pig. Like people, especially in New York, New Jersey, started to hear about it. People were enjoying the story of like, he left the restaurant industry and, he started this meal prep and training company. And so people enjoy the story. And so that started to get a little bit more press. And then my videos just started to go viral.
So social media played a big part in...
Social media did,
right.
But I think my network as well. It was like kind of you have this intrinsic and extrinsic motivators coming in, and people love the story, right? Like of what I'm doing. Then I guess, I don't know, and I hope they did. Right. And then you have like the social media definitely playing like an asset to it. But then there's a real business behind it. So like I kind of, I don't know,
it was a little bit of
like
everything.
Layers.
Snowballed.
Yeah, it was a
Amazing.
snowball. Yeah, but
so it's just interesting to watch, you know, because you watch your friend that you
Yeah.
met a few years ago, and they were like this huge fitness person. It's like, and I'm here.
Yeah,
so I must be doing okay.
No, you're good. It was crazy because I thought restaurant and nightclub was like my end all be all.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, I'm going to do this for the rest of my life.
But it wasn't your purpose. I mean, when I met you, I was like, what is he doing here? Like, look at him.
Which is
First of all,
crazy.
look at him. What is he doing here? I even asked you, I'm like, are you a trainer? Like, what are you a model? Like, what's your deal? Like, what are you doing here? Like, why are you throwing events in Jersey City? And it was kind of like, I was like, he's too good to be in this position. Getting started. Like, you're just scratching the surface.
I feel like I'm like just getting started.
Yeah.
I feel like this is my first year at it. For some reason, like I just feel like there's more people to help. There's more people to impact.
But you're not training people one-on-one anymore.
I would love to. I think it's truly fun, like working out with people and like training them. I don't have time. Like we're launching an app. We're opening another location.
So
in
talking
LA.
about some of the business stuff that you're working on that you can talk about.
Yeah, for sure. So we're opening another facility in LA, which is in West Hollywood, which hopefully is going to open at the end of September, depending on COVID. And then the app. I think that, to really expand, people need an experiential location where they can go in and physically feel it and feel the energy. And then if they can't make it to that, right, then they need some type of motivational digital platform that they can go on. And that's what the app is. It's called Powered. We're launching it this week, actually, which is really exciting. It'll be out by the time this goes live. And it's where you can connect with us from a physical and mental aspect. So very easy to follow workouts, all live. There's no green screens. There's no production. It's everything shot on an iPhone. So I could do a workout today, take a 5-second video of each exercise, post it, explain it, talk to the camera, give people a little motivation to like have fun with their workouts. And then, there's an Evolve page where, there's meditations on there. There's discounts to, maybe some of our sponsors. There's, life tips on, maybe gratitude, stuff like that. So it's a perfect balance app that's very simple to follow. And we've been working on it for almost 12 months now. But
so I've been training with your sister the last 2 months on FaceTime.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
And I'm in the best shape of my life.
Yeah,
like
you look
she
great.
crushes me.
Yeah, she's
crushed me. And it's so funny that I'm like working out with your sister, and like you guys have the same. You're like the same. Like it's crazy.
Yeah.
So you have
four sisters.
Yep. And you guys are all like beasts.
I appreciate it. Yeah, they all played sports their entire life. Whitney lives up in New Hampshire. Right. She works in a hospital. Haley, she owns like a gardening center out in Oregon. My one right below me, Katie, she's in the Coast Guard. She lives in Hawaii.
And then
Ashley, she trains.
She's like your little protege.
Yeah, she trains in New York.
Right.
And
she's great. So you're crazy. You're fucking crazy because you're doing a marathon. Yeah. Wait, that's crazy in itself, is running the New York City Marathon. Mm-hmm. But you're doing it in a bear crawl.
On all fours.
Can you just get down on fours?
Yeah. So it's like this. The whole way.
Why?
26.2 miles.
Okay, so why?
I was in England last September with a buddy. His name is Ross Edgley. He is a disruptor in the wellness industry. He's probably one of the smartest people I've ever met in regards to your body, and just one of the nicest humans ever. Anyways, I'm out there for a Gymshark campaign, and we just started chatting and like the importance of like social media and like the purpose of it and just like life in general. We started getting really deep. We were with each other for a week in the Lake District in England, and he's like, "You should do something really disruptive." He's like, said the same thing. He's like, "You're crazy." He's like, "Do something that's really going to change the way people think about the human body." And we started chatting about a bear crawl and how it's so hard. And he's like, "You should bear crawl a marathon." And I'm starting to think, I'm like, I'll admit I'm good at bear crawling. I've always been good at bear crawling. It's something I've done since people growing up, maybe they would suck on their thumb or they'd have like these little tendencies. Right. I would just bear crawl around the house. Like I didn't even know it was a bear crawl. I just like running around on all fours. It was weird. Anyway, so we started talking about it more and more. He's like, "You should do something to change the way that humans think about their body and what's possible and what's not possible." And so we got to the bear crawl. He's like, "You should bear crawl the London Marathon." I said, "My audience is in New York. I think I'm going to bear crawl the New York City Marathon." And so got back, started talking about it with some people, and they're like, "That's crazy." I bear crawled a mile and I was like super out of breath. I bear crawled 2 miles and I'm like, "I'm going to do this." And what my biggest factor was, why am I doing it? Is it really only just to change the way that humans think? That wasn't really enough for me. So I started digging deep, and one thing that I went through when I was a kid is my father committed suicide when I was 16. And so that's always been like a driving force behind me. Like for me to get what I want to get done, it's always been like the main driving force. And I've kind of gone through my life in this tunnel vision of like, I need to do this. I don't care what anyone says. Like I'm going to get to the end goal. And I was able to take a step back after talking with my now business partner, Matt Hesse, I kind of could take a step back, and he's like, you got to go back to the trauma as a kid, and really dig deep into that and figure out why, why you're doing all this, and so to land the plane and finish the story is I want to bring awareness to mental health. I want to bring awareness that the more you talk about it, if you were to sit down with me a year ago or 5 years ago, you would never know I went through that as a kid, because it was my thing.
You didn't talk about it.
I don't want to talk about it. I want to feel like it never happened.
Right.
Like you don't want to know that it exists, but that puts like a big weight on your back, and you don't realize it until someone tells you, and then something clicked, and I was like, I felt so good talking about it with him, and then talking about it with my now life coach, and talking about it with now my spiritual coach, and I was like bawling, I was like crying at each one. I'm like, this feels so good to just like talk about it and let it out. And I'm like, my goal for 2020 is to let people know that it's okay to talk about things that you've gone through, and you don't have to just hide it and put it away in your. The more I talked about it, that was my intrinsic motivator. My extrinsic was like, yeah, I'm gonna do this PR. It's gonna be awesome. We're gonna help people change the way they think about fitness. But my intrinsic motivator is what I went through as a child and as a teenager, and and showing people that it's okay to talk about it. And so I have like this extrinsic motivator of like helping people, and then my intrinsic, which is like me personally, what I've gone through. And so that was like a good recipe for me to like really execute.
Was it hard to be vulnerable? To the media and to
so hard. Yeah. But honestly, what's really cool is like the last 4 months, there's been a lot of press on it, and it every time I talk about it more and more. This is probably my 25th interview, and every time I talk about it, it's like that much easier, and I feel that much better that day. It's almost like therapy. In order for you to be at the top of your game from a mental health perspective, you need to talk about things you've gone through. You need to let it all out. You need to be honest with yourself and honest with your peers. And
which we were talking about it, off camera, about being authentic.
Yeah.
And how you just decided like, fuck it, I'm not gonna be this like shiny like fitness dude that's like looks good without his shirt on, but there's more depth to me. There's more like I'm a person.
Yeah, and that probably started coming out when I took a trip to China with my business partner Matt, and we talked about it. And then I came back, and he put me in touch with a couple people, and I started talking about it. And then these interviews, now I'm like, this is me, guys. I started realizing it when I went to China with my now business partner Matt, and he asked me about it, and I started talking to him about it, and it felt so good, and I actually started tearing up, and I'm like, this was amazing. And then he's like, I'm going to put you in contact with a couple of people. So then he introduced me to Johnny Martin, who's now my life coach. He introduced me to this other doctor who's like a spiritual coach, and I like told them the story and like started crying, and I'm like, wow, fuck, this feels fucking great, And then, I started to kind of talk about it more just with my friends and like my sisters and so on and so forth. You feel better, And then, after all these interviews over the past.
But now you have to actually do it.
Now it's all out. Now, like, people know, why I'm doing it, what I'm doing it for, and it just feels amazing,
When are you gonna do it?
I think end of October. It's supposed to be November 1st. That's New York Marathon, but it got canceled.
Because of COVID,
I'm still 100% doing it. I don't want to just like give up just because something's canceled. Like, fuck the New York Marathon. This issue is way bigger than the New York City Marathon. It's like people in the world suffering from like mental health issues because they don't feel like their story is important, but it is important. And so that's way bigger than the New York Marathon. So I'm not going to let like the New York Marathon determine how I'm going to spread awareness on mental health. So I'm still going to crawl around New York City.
You're going to do it in New York.
Just still doing it. We're trying to get the Coast Guard right now to escort around. If not, then we know some people at the NYPD. But it's definitely going to be 26.2 miles. We're going to have some veterans walking with us. We're going to have the FitOps flag, which I'm raising money for.
So how do you train for such a thing? You did like 13 miles recently,
Yeah, well, no one really knows how to train for it. I know a lot of doctors. I know a lot of great coaches. And
like prevent injury. Like you're from another world. Like
But it's cool. Like I'm understanding my body. So from a training aspect, one, it's repetition, right? There's no secret pill. You just got to get up and do it. So you start increasing, speed. You start increasing endurance, right? In the bear crawl position. So I started to get up to 2 miles, 3 miles, 4 miles. I ended up doing 5 miles. I felt terrible the whole day. I was like, I don't know if I can do 26. If I do this, is nuts. And then I started doing it on a treadmill. That started to hit me mentally because I'm like, this is taking forever. I'm sitting in one spot. It just like wasn't inspiring to me. So I switched it to the turf, and so I'd go back
Berry
and
Lane
forth.
Park? Who put you on to Berry Lane Park? I did, right?
Yeah. So I started going to the turf, and I would go back and forth on the football field. Then I started to do so many back and forth. I was like, 60 times back and forth is annoying. And so then I was like, okay, let me switch to just doing laps around the field. And so now mentally, you do 4.5 laps, and that's a mile. And so it doesn't sound that bad, right? To me, it doesn't. And so I just do repetition, but I'm at a point now, you're right, I did 13 miles in 10 hours and 18 minutes.
So are you taking breaks in between?
Yeah, so I basically, you have to break it up, and you have to go into it with the right schedule. So I have a dietitian, Melanie, who puts together my whole eating plan. You can't eat too much, you can't eat too little. You have to be eating the right things for your body to function, for it to sustain energy. Pedialyte, pre-workout. You can't just have a ton of pre-workout and be like, I'm going to go 20.
Right, then you're like shit yourself.
Yeah, it's definitely not good. And so then... yeah, it's not good. Unbelievable. And
you're not going to get this kind of interview anywhere, just saying.
It's crazy. And so... And so it's just like repetition. And so now I'm at a point now, I'm happy I did the 13 miles. I felt great afterwards. My hands were torn up, so I need to focus more on the gloves, which Gymshark is making. And then it's diet. And so injury prevention is huge for like someone in, I guess, an elite position like I am. I can't really lose too much more fat on my body. I can't really, anyways, it's all injury prevention now. Right. So I go in weekly to get IV drip. I go in weekly to get my B12 shot. I go in weekly to get biopuncture, which helps with flexibility. And then I'm actually doing stem cell. Yeah, fatty tissue stem cell. And so I'm going to probably be doing that in the next month, and which will help my recovery that much more.
That's exciting. So when you're not like crushing being an entrepreneur, fucking fitness, life, like what do you do for fun? Like what do you do to unwind?
I love having a glass of wine. Right. I love wine. I love cheese. I love food.
You don't diet. I don't think you're not a dieter.
I don't diet. Yeah. I don't believe in diets. I think diets are like so temporary, and they like you do a keto diet, you do a paleo diet.
I hate that shit.
Yeah, you do this like fruit diet or veggie diet or whatever like new trend is out there. And you last for like 2 months. Maybe you get sick. Maybe you don't like it. It's not sustainable. But yeah, I do breath work. Right. Yeah, for sure. I added it in.
I feel like breath work is so good.
Breath work's good. The best one that I've learned from a couple of my friends, Renata, Livini Erico, founded Equinox, and this girl Elena, who's a meditation instructor, and Dr. Levry, it's called a 3-point breath, where I inhale for about 15 seconds. I hold that breath in my lungs.
Let's do it.
All right. All right, so you have to make sure that you're... Yeah, and this just like helps.
I'm very stressed out lately.
No, yeah, this just helps. This just helps. I'll put the timer on. So this just helps with like anxiety and like just like helps kind of reset your brain. So you inhale through your nose. Okay. Only through your nose. Come on, you're doing it. We're doing it now. No, you can open your eyes. Chest up. I'm an instructor. I don't know.
Do I have to do like this or no?
No, you can have your hands right here, but make sure your spine's straight. Okay. And when you inhale through your nose,
keep it in.
You fill up your lungs as much as possible. You want your lungs to feel like it can't have any more air. You want to expand your lungs. Okay. Ready?
Yeah.
Inhale. More. Keep going. Don't let it out.
I can.
Yes, you can. You can. Trust me. When you exhale, don't do it yet. You're going to exhale through your nose only, but very slowly. It's not just going to be one big whisk. You're going to nice and slow for 15 seconds. Ready? Slow.
Wow, I feel high, like I smoked a joint or something. It feels good. Awesome. Anything else that you want people to know that we haven't covered? I think we covered everything, right?
Yeah, here's
the star. Perfect ending.
Yeah.
Perfect ending.
The puppy's up there somewhere. But